Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to our new series, Flutter UI Concept. And the idea here is that for every single Friday, we will build a complete concept from start to finish. I found this design or this app UI on Dribble, and I think it looks nice, it looks modern, and I'm trying to recreate this using Flutter. If you guys have a particular UI or app concept you would like to see me create, you just tag a link. You just provide me a link of that particular app in the comment section. So I hope you guys are excited because I am. Let's get straight into it. So this is where we're starting from, and the first thing we are trying to recreate here is our welcome screen or welcome page, something like this. And be mindful to the fact that probably we will have to use different images because it would be hard for me to find these exact images, right? But that's not the point, and that's nothing. So I'm using a stack, and this is what we have on our app. It's white now. I went ahead and created the project structure. I added couple images here, right? And for our source we have models, we have providers. We didn't use this folder, but anyway, screens and widgets. Starting from the main page or the main file, we have the welcome screen being the first one. So the logic here, we're going to recreate this screen as the first one. Okay, perfect. Let's go to our welcome and see how we can build this. We have here is a stateless widget. We're starting with a scaffold, right? And then we're adding a stack. The very first thing we are going to do here is creating our image. And I have these images. I downloaded them, and they're here present. If you go and get the source code from Git, you're going to get the same thing. So we have here image asset, which is images wl.jpg, this particular image here. And we want the image to fit the complete screen. That's why we're giving our height double dot infinity and width the same thing. If we save this is what we have, right? uh, let's continue with the work. And now what we need is to have all of this information on top of the image. That's why we use the stack. And if I go ahead now, I may need to put this on full screen. The very second thing we're going to use here, I used align widget, right? So inside of this align widget, we want to align it to the bottom of the screen, because if you check here, this is at the bottom here. So we are making sure we are aligning this container to the bottom of the screen. Height, we are providing 400. Actually, you can give any, but this is into that range, I believe. And width double dot infinity, because we want this to fill the complete width of the screen. Now we are starting decorating. The most important part that we have here is here on our gradient, because we want this effect, this fading effect here. So we are going to provide this gradient property to inside of our container. So we want our linear gradient, and the gradient is going to start from bottom center, and it's going to fade to the top, exactly how this image looks, starting from the bottom, and it's fading as it's going to the top, right? And for the colors of our gradient, we are going to use black. So we are going to be varying the opacity of the black from the very black, which is opacity 1. We are going to be fading until 0.025, which is very light black, right? And with this part done, what we're going to do is, let me just, okay, and let's check the effect of this on our code. If I go ahead and save this, this is what we have from this particular piece of code. Let's continue. And then here we have a column, right? Why? Because we will need to place these widgets or this information here on top of that, so that's why we are using a column. And then for the first thing we're going to add into our column is the text. And if you see, if you pay attention, we have main axis alignment, and this basically means that the element of this column, instead of starting from the top to the bottom, are going to start from the bottom to the top. So here I have text, enjoy the world, and provided some properties for this particular text: the size, the color, and the weight of the text. See, and this is what we have now: enjoy the world. We are trying to get here. Okay, continuing with our work, we are going to provide a size box, and this is basically going to lift our text a bit. And then we are going to provide a second section of the text where we have this: we will help you find the best experience and adventures. Again, providing couple properties is the font size, 16, the color, and the weight. This is what we have, and here is where we're trying to go. Continuing here, sized box again, which is going to lift our text a bit. That's why we're using sized box. And then we'll provide a line bottom center, and inside of this align we want to place this widget. So we are going to use a gesture detector here on that particular widget, because if you pay attention, actually that widget is a container. I just gave a decoration to that particular container, specifying the color white and the radius of the border to be 10. And then inside of the container we have the icon, the arrow icon, right? So for us to be able to click on that container, I'm going to use gesture detector, and I'm specifying here that when the container is clicked, we will want to load the home page, right? And I have the file here on the screen, so we have home. The only thing we'll need to do is go and populate that, but that's not for now, right? Let's save this, and this is what we have, but this is, we still need a bit of space here, so I will add the size box of height 40. Boom. And for our screen, our welcome screen, we reproduced, and this is what we have, right? Okay, perfect. Now let's go and reproduce the same UI for our home page. So guys, before we start working or actually building our home screen, if we start to analyze this from a Flutter perspective, we can see that a lot of widgets here would be repeated. For example, for this accommodation here and this here and this here, they are basically the same. The only thing that changes is the icon and the text. For these images here, the same thing. The only thing that's going to change is the background image and this text here. So first of all, we are going to create widgets, and we are going to call them over and over again to avoid code repetition, right? Let's go to our editor. Perfect. The very first thing we are going to do here is I'm going to build a class, and I'm going to call that class places. Let me zoom a bit. And we know that places has three properties based on this based on this image here. We have the name of the place and the days. So here we have place, we have the image. Place would be the name of the place, the image, and the days of the tour on that particular place, right? And we have this, we created this class inside of our models, folder. Now we are going to go straight to our widgets folder, and on our widgets folder we're going to open up this, our icon card. And this is the icon card, or these are the icon cards, and we're trying to create a widget that's going to replicate the properties of this. If we pay close attention, we would see that here we only need an icon and a text, right? So we import Flutter material.dart first of all. Then we're going to create our icon card widget, which is going to be a stateless widget. And then the properties we need, which is the icon, data, and the text. We're going to build a constructor to make sure that every time we call this widget, we need to initialize these values. And then we are going to override the build method. And the build method is going to return a container of height 80, right? Continuing, inside of a container, we're going to return a column, because if you pay attention, this and this, it looks like a column, so we're going to return a column. And for that column, I'll have to put this on full screen for you guys to understand. We are going to return a container, right? And this particular container, we are going to create a small decoration because we're trying to replicate this. And for the color, we are going to give it a very light pink, exactly like this. And then for the border radius, we're going to provide a 10, so we're going to have rounded borders. And then we are going to call icon. For the icon, we are going to insert the value of icon data from here. And then we're going to provide a darker pink for that particular icon, and onPressed method, empty method. And finally, we are going to provide another widget here that's going to be a text widget. And this text widget represents this text down here, right? So this is our first widget build, which is going to represent this. Now let's start working with the widgets for these images here. So we are going to open our image card, and inside our image card we are going to need a name, days, picture, place. Place is basically this class here. Do you remember that we created this class place, which contains the place, the image, and the days? We are calling that object of that class again from here, from this image card widget. Then we're going to create a constructor that's going to require all of these values to be initialized. And then we have our build override method here, which is going to return a padding, and then we're going to use a padding of 4 on all sides. Then inside we are going to return an inkwell, where when the image is pressed, we are going to redirect the user to the details page. So the logic we are doing here is that when this image is pressed, this page is going to be open. And on this particular details page, we are giving an argument, which is the place, this object of the type place, right? As a child, we are returning a container. We are providing couple decoration to this container. We are providing a shadow, with a very light color, offset, and the border radius of the shadow. And then we want to provide a child for this particular container. And as a child, we're going to provide a clip art and a border radius of 10. And this is what's going to allow us to have these rounded corners here. Clip rect. And then we're going to use a stack, obviously, because we can see that we have widgets stacked on top of the other. And for this particular stack, we're going to start with the image. And if you see, we have image assets, image slash picture, because the name of the picture is going to be passed to this particular widget here, right? So we're going to image assets dot picture. Then here, what we're doing is providing that fading effect we did on our welcome screen, and it's basically the same thing, right? Just providing a line gradient and giving different shades of black. We're providing another positional widget where we are going to have the text, the name of the place, which is going to represent this part here. Then here we're providing padding. Inside of padding we have rich text where we provide the name of the place. And then we will finalize with a row. Inside of this row we are going to have our calendar icon and the number of days, which is basically this part down here, right? So that's that. And our final widget, it's going to be image cards. Going back here, we can see that this is something the user can scroll. So we need to implement that logic on our Flutter app. We are going to start by creating a list of images. Inside of this list, we are going to provide objects of the type place because we created this class place. And for the place, we are going to create fake names like Austria, India, Bali, and all of these places. And for the images, we are basically providing these images we have on our images folder, and the number of days you can give a random number. You can create as many objects as you want just to populate these images here. And actually this should be places, not images. Then we are basically going to return a container of height 250, which is a list view builder, but the scroll direction is going to be horizontal, because if you see here, the images are swiped from left to right or from right to left. Let me just rename here, and now we're going to refactor this. You see, here we have a list of places. The first place, the second place, and all. And here on our list view builder, we will take the length of the places, right? And then basically what you're going to do is for the name, we're going to take the place, which is the place name, place days, and the place image. And place, and we are passing to this image card. This image card is the widget we just created here. So we are returning that inside of this list view builder. That's why we are returning. Okay, now we have the widgets done. Maybe it's a bit messy, but let's put everything together now inside of our home screen. Now it's time to start building our home page, home screen, which is basically this here. Sorry. And we went ahead and already created these widgets. Now we are only going to put everything together, right? So this is what we have. We are going to import our icon card and our image cards widgets, right? And here we have our basic structure for the home page, which is going to be a stateful widget. Let me zoom in a bit. First, we're going to use a safe area widget, and this happens a lot when we are using a stack, that some of the components of the app kind of overflow, right? They kind of start going around this area where the time is and the charging stuff. So to make sure that will not happen and the screen width and resolution height, whatever, is respected, we use this widget, the safe area widget. So inside of the safe area widget, we are going to provide a container with the color white to make sure the background of our app is going to be white, exactly as it is on our images. And inside of this, we are going to provide a column. Everything will be inside of a column. And then we are going to use a row for this part here, this top section. And we are going to have this image here. And if we load, this is what we're going to have here. As a matter of fact, let me do something like this. So we have this icon button for this section here, and we're going to add a second icon button, which is going to be this person outline. Here they have an image, but it's basically the same thing, I believe. You can just go ahead and change this. So continuing on our work, we are going to provide a small sized box to provide us this bit of a space. We want to align this to the top left, and this is this text here. And then we're going to add a small padding of 8 to the left again. And here we're using rich text, and this is the magic of rich text, because if you have a look here, this text is pink and this is black and all, and that may be kind of hard to do using a normal text widget, so that's why we use rich text. And inside of rich text, we provide a text span, and then for the text span we provide children and different text span. For the first one, text span is going to be hello, and this works basically like a text widget, but we have a lot of more power over it. For this text span, we have hello, and the color, these are the properties, the size 32, and the color is pink accent. And then what are you looking for? It's going to be, and the style is going to be this one, which is going to make it black. If we save this and we take a look on our app, this is what we have. Hello, what are you looking for? Continuing, we're going to provide the size box to provide us with a bit of space, and then we'll need the row. And inside of this row, we are going to use this widget we created, the icon card. And now it starts to make sense, because for the icon card, we are only asking for the icon data, which is the icon, and the text, which is going to be accommodation according to the image. And then we are going to add another one for experiences. Make sure we have here, you have space around, and then we have adventures, and finally flights. So we are trying to recreate this. We don't have these exact icons, and I didn't want to search for them honestly, but you get the point. Here you can provide any icon and the text, right? Continuing with our work, we provide the size box again, and then another row and text field. or text widget, sorry, best experiences, and this is what we have here. So we are providing a padding to the left of 8, and then we are writing here best experiences and providing some properties to our text. And then we'll need to have this icon here, and if you pay close attention to our row, we have space between, and this will take each one of these items to the extremes, this to the left extreme and this one to the right one. Continuing, we are providing a size box and then image cards. If you remember, we created this. If you go to the widgets, we created this image cards, which is going to be an horizontal list view builder. And now what are we doing here on the home page? We are calling that, right? And this is what we have. This is what we've built, and this is what we have. And finally, here we are going to provide our size box again, align to the bottom, because we want to provide this navigation. We want to create this navigation here at the very bottom, and this is what we have: a set of icons. The first one is pink and the other black, and this is what we have. And now, just to finalize this, let's go and finish our details screen. So guys, here on our screens, we have the home, welcome, and finally we have our will require one argument, which is the place. And if we go back to our widgets, our image card, we have here on pressed on tap, it's going to open our details screen and it's going to pass in the place. So going back to our details screen, first we're going to create a column because we are trying to replicate something like this. Oops. We are trying to replicate something like this. So first we're going to create our column. Inside of a column we're going to create our container of height 300, and inside of our container we need this clip art, and then I always call it clip art, clip rect, and then inside of that clip rect we are going to display the particular image, right? Let's go to the app and try to see what we're talking about. You see, and this is what we have. On our clip rect, to see if perfect. On our clip rect, we have our border radius only, because we only want our border to have this and this thing here, only to the bottom left and the bottom right, and we are giving it a border radius of 33 both sides. And then images, place.image, we are getting this from this place object, height 400, width and double infinity to fill the whole screen, and fit fill. Continuing, we will have here this section. We have a row inside of this padding widget. We have a row which comes with an icon and a text. Let me control save and see what happens on the app. We have here this icon and 3 days. The days are coming from this place object. right? Continuing, we have expanded widget because we want this to fill all of this left out space. And inside of that, we are going to provide a rich text, and this is the power of rich text. If you see this, let's have a look. We have place, which is the title or the name of the place, and this particular one is Bali. And we have a property for this first text, spam, which is going to be 22 in size and a black color. And then for this section here, which would be the description of the tour, we have this dummy text with the properties of size 18 and color gray. Continuing, we are going to create a line to the bottom of the screen, and here we have a container where we are going to decorate with the color pink. Inside of this container, we are going to insert a row, and if I do a control save, this is what we are getting, right? We have a line to the bottom because we want to make sure that this is at the very bottom of the screen, providing small decoration to our container, border radius again only to the top left and the top right, and the color is pink 400. And here we are going to insert a row. Inside of this row, first we are going to place a rich text. We do use rich text a lot. And the rich text, this first one is going to represent the price of the tour, right, which is going to be 300 and all. And space between, make sure that this is at the very extreme here. And then we are going to place our button on that particular side here. And this is basically a container inside of a padding widget with a small decoration and a box shadow here given. And then book a tour. So finally, we still need a way to go back to the main screen, and that's why we have here this position is going to be at the top here, and when clicked on, it's going to pop. So when I click here, it's going to pop. We can open any of this, click here, and it's going to pop. So guys, this was a very quick video. I hope you guys did like. Feel free to tell me what you think about this new series, what I should improve or what I should change. Hopefully see you guys for this particular series on the next Friday, but before that we are going to be uploading videos for the e-commerce series. See you guys, take care, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe.